Hello, Glenn. How are you doing? Sorry I'm a little bit late. I was having trouble getting my streaming equipment jump started for whatever reason. Don't even know how I fixed it, but playing with it just a few seconds proved to be beneficial anyway. How are you doing, Mystic Witch? It's good to see you as ever. And let's see, who else do we have? Patricia, good morning to you. It's good to see all of you guys. Glad to see that the week away didn't disarray anything or whatever. What else been going on with you guys? Have you been doing a lot of practicing in magic? And by the way, if I'm not sounding clear enough, then by all means let me know. How are you doing, Talon? It's good to see you. Given the things I've dealt with recently, today's topic is right on time. I do try to cover everything. I mean, there is so much to be considered, but a lot of people will think, why on earth would you want to talk about something like that? Well, I mean, every subject touches someone somewhere, you know. Good morning, Siren. It's good to see you. Let's see. Mystic Witch says, oh my god, almost every time we are both wearing the same color. Blue today. Peace and tranquility. Relaxation. And so forth. And as you can see by my little array around me, then I feel kind of peaceful today altogether. Let's see, Glenn says, I have slept with my Beltane crystal under my pillow since May Day. Well, that's cool. It should be pretty charged up and powerful by now. That's to say the least. And I would use it for some special need of this. And so you don't lose the magic in it. What is a really good idea is taking some white silk cloth and wrapping it up. Wrapping up your stone in that so it does not release the energy back. Let's see, it's good to see you too, LL. Yeah, it's been a kind of a long week. I've kept busy doing a lot of other stuff. Mainly this witchy works for a woman that watches the show and now is also a client. And it's been some pretty heavy working, so I've kept busy with that. So I didn't go too crazy being away from the live streams like I thought I would. Although I do miss seeing you guys every day. I really do. Just, I'm not able to, do a lot of the things that I would like to do whenever I'm streaming every day. It's kind of hard to get it together a lot of times. Let's see. I've been doing a lot of gardening lately. It's always good to get those hands in the earth, especially in the springtime. I mean, what better time, to be outside and enjoying the weather, And it hasn't been that raining, at least where I am, and that's in the Houston area. Let's see. Good morning, Jennifer. It's good to see you. And Crone Alone. Welcome to the chat room. It is always a pleasure. And today, what I thought we would talk about, let's see, Talon says I've been dragging his friend around 12-step meetings as often as possible. So having a lot of problems to deal with, I guess, and trying to stay balanced out. And I think that's what a lot of us are doing in this day and age, trying to stay balanced out. And there's a lot that could try to knock us off, of course, whenever we're doing our best, and applying ourselves at the utmost. Morning, Patricia. It's good to see you as ever, and nice talking to you briefly early this morning, at least on the text. For summer to see my oldest daughter. That sounds like could be a blessed thing. And I wish you good luck on that trip, for sure. Let's see. a lot of people are having trouble coping with today's society and the way that things are in the world. Let's see. Hey, Freaky, how are you doing? A lot of people are trying to balance out, but there's too much weighing on their mind, getting on their nerves too badly. And I mean, especially if you're in the political arena of things, or if you're in the spiritual arena of things, it's all out there, and it could tend to weigh on you super hard today. And, you know, for that matter, a lot of people may get caught up in things that they ordinarily wouldn't. And some may, you know, be influenced into certain things they wouldn't ordinarily go into by friends or by a boyfriend or a girlfriend, etc. And I've been there. I mean, I have had my little bout with drugs and alcohol, and this was a long time ago, but I remember it well. Wasn't my best times ever. And I think it's not hard for people to fall between the cracks in society, get lost for some time, and, you know, may be prone to getting caught up in things that aren't good for them. Well, I had my bout with drugs, and that was because an old boyfriend had come up in my life, and I let him get me there, if you know what I'm saying. And finally, I was able to shake out my head and say, okay, it's time to get rid of the boyfriend, get rid of the drugs, get back into life, get my head together, you know, and put myself where I need to be. You know, it's not hard to find 1 out of 4 people in today's society has been there. Okay. And the best thing about it all is when people can come back from that, start fresh, start over, and do what they are supposed to be doing. And a lot of times, you know, it's hard for a person to do that by themselves and without help, but I managed to do it, so anybody can, you know. And you know, one of the things I wanted to talk about, or the most important thing I wanted to talk about, good morning, Mitch, it's good to see you as ever. The most important thing I wanted to talk about is people who are caught up, you know, within alcohol, drugs, or actually energy drinks and things like that. Dr. Peppers. Some people get addicted to Dr. Peppers today, or soda in general. And how this affects your work whenever you are getting hyped up on stimulants, or you're doing drugs, or drinking alcohol, and then stepping into circle and trying to conduct workings. You know? And I can tell you for sure from experience that it isn't altogether good. It doesn't really work, you know, most of the time. Because, for one thing, when you are hyped up on energy drinks or Dr. Pepper or too much coffee, things of that nature, it's hard for you to maintain a focus. And you'll have an energy, a pretty big energy at that, but not the right kind of energy. A kind of a negative, uncalm, uncertain, clumsy energy. And going into a circle or your temple place, if you're just sitting at an altar, with this kind of energy can be really distortive to what you're trying to do. And you may find that you're unable to conquest in that which you set out to do for that day. Likewise, if you go into a circle or into your temple place, drinking, and not just drinking, I mean, because you can take a glass of wine into your temple or circle place and, you know, sip it and use it as libation and give some to the gods and goddesses, and this is all right. But let's say you overindulge and you go into the temple place from the start, you know, And so you're kind of, you know, out of it and not feeling as energetic, and it drains on you, you know. It can put you into a very negative place. It definitely unfocuses you. You're not going to think straight. You're not going to be objective. You can say all the wrong things while you're in circle or at your altar for that matter. And your magic is going to be as off as you are. You know, and definitely the same to do with drugs. Well, coffee isn't exactly bad for you, okay? It's not something you should really have to quit, because one week they say it's bad for you, the next week they say it's good for you. You know, it's not really, you know, something that you should have to pull away from as far as your everyday life goes. However, as witches, as mystics, pagans, I mean, you should know when to drink tea and go into your circle on, say, decaffeinated tea. Cleanse your body so that you're right for the ritual and you can think straight and you've got your focus. I mean, because focus is everything when you get at your altar. It really is. And if you can't focus, then why are you there? I mean, what are you going to accomplish? It's going to hurt your workings. And so then you're just wasting your time, and you're feeling like you're wasting the higher power's time. Coffee is a pretty good vice. These days, coffee is my only vice. I don't drink, and I quit smoking 6 years ago because it was killing me as far as asthma and all of that goes. But, you know, coffee is my only vice too, and I love it. Hence the name of the show, Coffee with Lady Leeanna. But is it positive for your circle for you to go in and drink a whole crap load of coffee and then sit down and try to focus or meditate or astral project or just to do a talisman? I don't think it affects so bad as far as doing a talisman goes. You know, not as much as it would hurt if you were meditating or astral projecting or whatnot. But it still causes you to bounce off the walls. A lot of sugar can do the same thing, so that's not good either. Cocaine is one hell of a drug, yes. As far as your stimulants go, cocaine would be your top bounce off the wall thing. And yes, I have done it, so I know. You would never be able to focus on that whatsoever. It's not good for you. It eats holes in your nose. It causes you to stay up for endless hours, and before you know it, you look like a damn zombie walking around. It doesn't do you any good. Neither does ice, glass, crack. I mean, all of that is basically the same kind of an animal. You know, they're going to be very bad for you. And then your drugs that are supposed to calm you and put you in sort of a hypnotic state are going to make it to where you are too laid back, unable to concentrate, don't feel too good, don't want to move around a bunch, and there's no way that you're going to stir up the kind of energy that you need. Let's see, going to the board, it says, I drink a lot of chamomile, Patricia says, and that's the best thing you can do. And with honey, not sugar. Let's see, okay, so nobody judged me too harshly, but I always empower myself with cannabis before doing a ritual. Meditate. Find it gives me a clarity and a deeper connection to the earth. Different people's bodies work differently. I don't judge, trial, or condemn anybody here. And as a matter of fact, I think most of us today have tried it, although I would say by far not everybody. Cannabis I put in that arena along with mugwort, damiana, skullcap, all of those, and say that basically it's not an over-the-top thing, although I will tell you it makes you lazy. It can tend to drag you down and make you not have the energy that you need to dance around in circle, chant, drum. A lot of people, it makes you lazy. And I've seen the statistics, so I know that this is correct. However, it isn't over the top, as far as what it can do to you, and neither is coffee as a stimulant. But energy drinks is kind of on that border and can put you over there, as well as especially cocaine or any of the coke-based drugs out there, you know. And so whenever I'm talking about this subject right here, I am talking about something that I do know about, you know. Um, but I mean, I've experimented. I know these things, and they can make you too much one way or make you too much of another way. And so by all means, the best possible thing you can do is create a pagan concoction of your laid back type um, relaxing herbs, like your mugwort, your damiana, and stuff like that, so that you don't get overly lazy. And Glenn agrees with that about the laziness. But as mental health, I need some grounding. So, I mean, if it's medical, or if you could almost classify it yourself as medical, who can argue with that? As a bunch of pagans in here, we're by no means, throwing stones at anybody or judging anybody for that which they do. You have to do what helps you to balance out, and you learn how to work with your altar, with your temple, your magic, to get things where they need to be. You learn over time to implement whatever this is that you're doing into it, except for if we're talking about cocaine, glass, ice, crystal meth, any of that. You're never, ever going to be able to work that into your magic and to your benefit. I'm sorry. And alcohol, when we're talking about more than, say, 2 light glasses of wine or something, or a beer, when we're talking about more than that, then we don't know how to be as objective as we should be when we're going into that which we need to do. Pot does make you see spirits, Mystic Witch says. And, the Native Americans used peyote, and probably mushrooms to some degree. On the show here, I can't condone, condemn, or say anything about anything one way or the other. I will say I have grown up a lot. I really have. But I was one hell of a partier in the old days, and I have experimented with all of these things, and I can say that, each to their own, just make sure that it's something that you can learn to work with in your magic if you're going to do anything that goes against the grain. Make sure that you're not being careless. Don't wear a butterfly sleeved black robe to do your magic in with a shitload of candles around while you're on peyote or acid or crystal meth or crack cocaine or any of this, because that could be really bad, as well as on drinking a lot of alcohol and by yourself and no one being there to help watch over you. Or let's say you're having to watch over yourself and somebody else altogether too. Good morning, Ronanide. It's good to see you. Long time no see. Join in on the conversation at will. I think I said this before, but my friend who does negative working uses drugs to make people go crazy. I guess you could use drugs to make people go crazy. Um, I've never actually heard of this, although I guess it would make sense, like if you were to take some of it, rub it across the eyes of a doll, say if you're working voodoo, on the darkest note. And remember, voodoo does have a light side and a dark side, so I don't judge any religious pathway. But you could use them almost as you would anointing oil or herbs and so forth. I would say anything that causes angular energy within you and your emotional state is not the best. And that is true. I mean, when your emotional state is not the best, then that's going to bleed over into your workings, no matter what it is that you're trying to do. You know, um, your mindset is very, very important when you're doing any kind of a magical working. And remember, that is your biggest fear right there is your working bleeding into that what you're doing. And so then that working would just work against you. It would create a lot of hostility, anger, tears, sadness, mourning, depression. I mean, emotions are the most important thing in your altar whenever you're working your magic. And it's a scary thing whenever we can sit there and say, you know, okay, I'm doing a spell work to heal old Clara over there who is dying from cirrhosis of the liver, you know, but I'm sitting in my altar room and I'm drinking a big old bottle of hooch while dancing around and sending her this energy. You know, it doesn't really work. It isn't going to be good. Not for Clara over there. Let's see. Mystic Witch says pot also lets you see visions. Well, that's what a lot of Native Americans say. You know, fire scrying could go hand in hand with that if you're in a legal state. You know, fire scrying, a lot of people like to fire scry or whatever when they are using, I guess, the right tool of their choice. Um, you can open up your mind with mugwort, melon, damiana concoctions and mixtures, as well as a lot of other things. Also, you can attract bad spirits when in ritual under the influence. That's right. Well, I mean, spirits have nothing better to do than try to find life again, to try to find a living body that they can get within, that they can set within. Hi, Angie, it's good to see you. They have nothing better to do than to try to reach out into this world. And who would be better for them to reach into this world to than somebody that is under the influence and not working in their right mind? Someone that is easily swayed, okay? And they can screw with you, and they could even say become a walk-in, which is yet content for another show. If a lot of you don't know what a walk-in is, it's when something that has passed away, a spirit or a demon or something very, very bad, uh, gets inside of your body at a time when you are not yourself, or at your utmost when you're in bad health or under the influence of drugs or intoxication of some other sort. And so, under the influence, concocting a circle, erecting the temple, you're not going to do a very, very good job of it if you're already not in your right mind. And so things are going to get in there because, well, spirits are attracted to magic doers anyway. Someone calling on the spirits. I mean, you're dancing with a lot of problems there. what a great topic. I was just thinking about having a little 420 with my morning meditation. I think it helps in meditation. I only smoke it maybe once every 2 months and very, very small amounts. Well, a lot of people use what helps them in whatever it is that they're trying to do. And I have to stay within the lines of what I can actually say here without condoning anything. So I'm having to, take it light on the wind here, and just say the minimum or that I can actually say without causing a problem for myself here. But, you know, a little balance within your spirituality doesn't hurt. And there are a lot of pagans who actually do smoke to balance themselves out. And no one can judge that, because the way I look at things is there are plants, all the plants, anything green that grows. It was put on here by the higher power upon this earth that people may use it for their needs. And so no real pagan could actually judge anyone for that which they do. If they use herbs to help them see spirit, whether it's Damiana, mugwort, and anything else, and at 4:20 in the morning they may go pick it. But, you can also use this particular time 4:20 to fire scry and to water scry, whenever you're doing your working. But you have to watch out for the hyperactive. You have to watch out for over obsession with pills that take you out of your right mind, or make you see things that you definitely don't want to see, like the inside of a coffin. I mean, because really drugs do kill. The heaviest drugs do kill. Your psychoactives, they come under the prescription of a doctor. Your crystal, your coke, all of this, ODing, people do it all the time. And people get caught up in moments and they'll end up killing themselves. I know people, very real people that have. So if it grows upon the earth, if it grows upon the earth and in its good form, we have to respect what it is. We have to respect what it does. And we have to know a little bit about it, And I think that, the things that you're talking about on here, when you're talking about the wink wink, you're talking about something that has been tried and used and experimented by so many, many people before you. And so it's been proven to be, not as dangerous as a lot of other things out there. Of course, you have a lot of people that try to shake a finger and say, oh, you're going to start doing this, and then you're going to go to the bigger, and before you know it, you are bouncing off the wall with yourself a big heaping amount of cocaine or something like this. But it is not always true. I mean, and it wasn't true when our parents shook a finger at us and said, that wrong music, it's going to get you, it's going to take you into the drug world. Well, not necessarily. I've never seen music having a direct effect on taking somebody into something that they didn't want to go into, But yes, you have to be careful. Going into a circle and not such a right mind is not good for you, especially when you've got a lot of candles around, when you're messing with anatomy, when you've got a circle and you're and you're shoulder to shoulder with so many other people within your circle. Thank you, Glenn. You gotta do a little bit of cutting up when you're teaching, that's for sure. Keep the students awake and alive, But you gotta do the thing that is alright for you, Don't let it pull you down. Don't let it take you into the negative sides, and don't go into a circle when you're in a bad frame of mind, because that will go into your work. 3 of the most important ingredients within your magic is state of mind, energy, will and ambition, you know, and your faith. Okay, so 4 things. 4 things. Glenn, you're so funny. Let's see. Good morning, Vicky. If I didn't say good morning to you. My situation is different. I am sick and disabled. There is something to cover there, and you make a very, very good point, Vicky. And I'm glad you brought that up, because there are situations that cannot be avoided. And we'll get to that. I use a lot of different herbs and drugs, and oftentimes have to perform rituals, etc. anyway. And when you're a witch, you're going to perform your rituals. Okay? And when you're sick, you're going to be on drugs that the doctors prescribe for you, or, you know, whatever you use to have to balance yourself out. So there is such thing as having to find a way to work with the things that you do, whether you're forced to or you feel you have to. There is a way for that, but you have to grow into it. Kind of like, I don't know, a lot of alcoholics, after they've drank for so much, and by the way, this is when they're getting quite toward their own death with cirrhosis of the liver or whatever, but they will get so immune to it that you won't even be able to tell that they are that drunk, although you'd be able to look in their face and see it to some degree. You know, so you can, over time, learn to work with whatever substance is being put in front of you by a doctor or by whatever you feel that you have to use. But now, bear in mind, this is by no way condoning the use of drugs of any sort, you know, and I just want everybody to take note of that. Let's see. Let's see. Glenn says, for yourself, you must be a lot stronger to be under these medications and still be clear-headed and perform rituals. You're one powerful witch. And yes, you grow into your roles. You grow into the things you have to do. Kind of like learning how to work magic with disabilities. You can do it. People do it all the time. And when you are on a lifelong medication that your doctor is prescribing for you, or whenever you're doing things that happen to balance out your health or your life in some way, form, or fashion, then you're going to balance out with it eventually. Using it for medical situations is great, so much better than pharmaceuticals. That's Angie, and that's true. I think a lot of people preach against self-medication. I think it depends on what it is that you're using to self-medicate with, and how many people have tried and tested it through the centuries, you know, before you and all of that. And we have to look at, you know, things from the eyes of other people and learn from them. And so we can make it work for us. We just have to know how to balance it. Know when too much is going to make us too lazy. Or in coffee, when too much is going to make us bounce off the wall and lose our focus. You know, and there's one side of the coin or the other. And Vicky says you can absolutely, let's see, you absolutely can be ill and still do what you need to do. That's right. Sometimes I'm too sick to get out of bed, though. And I've been there, Vicky. I just went through a 1.5 years of fighting cancer, but more than the cancer, I was fighting the instability of my legs and the effects of the chemotherapy and radiation treatments. You know, but I was still able to do what magic I could, although a lot of times I was too sick to even want to get out of bed. And they also had me on painkillers a lot of the time. Now, you know, there's a responsible use of the things that a doctor would prescribe there, and that's what's important. And knowing when a line is and what's too much, and balancing out with that. So, just really getting good with whatever it is that you're doing and learning how to work with it. And by all means, I mean, my baby sister, she was connected to drugs bad. And one night she OD'd. She just went to sleep and she never woke up. And this is on doctor prescribed pills. She just went to sleep. The next morning, my sister, a nurse, tried to revive her, giving her CPR, and she was unresponsive. When she tried to give her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, blood had already set down in her stomach and began pouring out of her mouth. So drugs do kill, and you have to remember that. Yeah, this has been about, I don't know, 8 years, 9 years. So I've gotten past it, but I was still up to, for like 6 to 7 years of it, I was still setting up and crying about it. She was the baby of us all. Out of 7 brothers and sisters, I guess 5 full brothers and sisters, she was the baby, and the rest of us are all alive. So I find that to be really, really brutal. I mean, on a family. Your mom's still alive. All of the older kids are still alive, but the baby dies in her sleep for doing drugs. And she was 36. When I say she was the baby, I mean of the siblings, But responsibility is very, very important here. There are some things, like if you do your spell work at 420, then it can help you to balance out sometimes. But it could also make you feel lazy if you're not real careful, and then you're not going to be able to drum up the energy that you need to do in any workings. Getting up that early in the morning can be a bitch, if you know what I'm saying. Likewise, you if you start taking too many stimulants, and it don't take a lot of stimulants, and that could be sugar, chocolate, caffeine, and then it can go into the larger cocaine, glass, ice, crystal meth, all of this, then you're not going to find a balance. I mean, and your energy is there. You can stir up all the energy you want, but it'll be the wrong kind. And so working, under the influence can be a little bit negative for you sometimes. Let's see. Angie, I take 3 opiate pills a day and probably will have to the rest of my life. From an old injury I got at work years ago, I've learned to go into circle without the pills. So you can learn to go into your circle without your medicines or prescriptions. But by all means, if you're in pain also, then you're not going to be able to focus on your work likewise. So let's look at the positive side of medicines and how they can help you when you're trying to do workings. For one thing, once you've been taking them for a long, long period of time, then you will have learned how to balance out and use it. Okay. And let's see. If you're in pain, then you won't be able to focus just the same as if you were on an over aggressive amount of smoking weed, or an over aggressive amount of taking any hyperactives. So your pain can keep you from focusing, and that's very important to consider likewise. All right, Glenn, it was really good to see you. I'll talk to you later, and I hope you have a great day. Blessed be. Freaky Unicorn. Let's see, me too, Mystic. Referring to stevia instead of sugar. I've tried stevia leaf, and it tastes too green for me, and a little bit like ass. I mean, when you're talking about something that could help you to stay balanced, yes, that would be one thing that could replace sugar, and it is definitely sweet, unbelievably so. And if you do it right, it can really help you. You know, you just got to keep the taste down to where it doesn't taste so bitter, you know? I like to use honey instead of sugar, and yes, that can be a bit of a sugar, so you can overdo it with the honey, likewise. You could use, say, a little bit of stevia leaf and a little bit of honey and mix it up a bit in there. And then cover it with a really sweet herb like chamomile. And yes, I know the taste isn't necessarily sweet, but it has a kind of a sweet aroma to it and helps to cover a lot of stuff. And mint will also, different mint leaves. Not your eucalyptus so much, but your spearmint or your peppermint. Those are pretty good. You know, especially when you're trying to wake up in the morning or keep your energy high, you know. But the best thing you can take into circle as far as high energy goes is uh, a friend with you, or to get in the spirit, stay away from negative throughout the course of a day. If you come into contact with negative energy, go sit under a tree and you know, just kind of chill out for a while and give all the negative energy to the earth before you go in and get ready for that ritual. Do remember that before we go into any rituals, there are always the preparation rituals that come before the rituals. And I agree with Vicky. I like to use real sugar, just less of it. Um, Stevia leaf isn't really an herb that you should be afraid of. It is actually green as hell and from the earth, you know, and it's pretty good for you. Let's see. But sugar is pretty bad for you if you take it too much, and people do tend to go to the heavy amounts of it. All addictions really do suck. They do. And you can prevent those or you can get rid of the addictions, you know, as long as it's something you really want to. And you're talking to a 34-year smoker who quit cold turkey just because I made a promise to a little boy that loves me, who threw his arms around me and began crying, saying, "Oh, Aunt Leeanna, I love you so much and I'm afraid you're going to die from me." And so I made a promise to that little 7-year-old boy that I would quit smoking. And then my husband, whenever I got with him, he was worried about me day in and day out. And there was a lot to be worried about because I wasn't breathing right anymore. And he cried and he begged me to quit smoking. So for these two people, the loves of my life, and Garrett may only be my nephew, but after his mom died from drug overdose and left me with this little boy, he became mine. And the love of my life, he really is. And such a squirrely little one he was. But he's 17 now and doing good. He's in school in a way. You know, my husband is still here, and they loved me and enough to beg me to quit smoking cigarettes. And so I did. You know, one day, whenever some other kids who I love very dearly, which are my nieces at my sister's house and my nephews over there, threw their arms around me and gave me such a horrible flu and head cold that I couldn't smoke for 3 days anyway. And so I said, you know what? It's been 3 days. I may as well quit. And so I did. Cold turkey right then. When I got that cold from kids that love me, and because of a promise that this other little boy, my little nephew, my own little boy, I say, and my husband made me promise them. How can one be addicted to rosemary and patchouli? I've never heard of that as an addiction. But okay, I mean, if you can get addicted to anything else, then why not? Rosemary and patchouli. Thank you, Vicky. I feel a lot better for having quit smoking, that's for sure. It was the best thing I could do, and I actually, as bad as I was with the smoking, and I still have COPD. I still have COPD, which is emphysema. One of the blends of emphysema, or I guess the blend of emphysema. Anyway, I've got it, and it's pretty heavy, the doctor said. But I still rolled the clocks back on my lungs by going ahead and quitting smoking. Hey, Elmira, it's good to see you. Bright blessings. I was still able to roll the clock back by quitting that smoking, you know, and I am like what, almost as though I were 15 years before I quit smoking. Even now, you know, it's crazy how much good health I restored back to myself, even with this emphysema disease, you know, by quitting it, how much of my health I restored. And I'll bet you I've slowed it down enough to where it will not be what kills me. You know, rosemary and patchouli just smells amazing. And I have it everywhere just because of the smell and its properties. Patchouli is the biggest used herb. Patchouli. It's the biggest used herb and scent and oil that I have in my house to use either in my rituals or just to keep around for the scent. I love patchouli. Rosemary is really good for cleansings and purifications, as well as growth and new beginnings. I don't use it quite a bit because I have other herbs that are equally as important to me that fill those positions. Like, for the cleansing, I'll use white sage. That's my all-time favorite, and it smells amazing. And the leaves feel like velvet, you know, on white sage. It's just the white sage leaves, if you get them, even though they're dried, they just feel so velvety, you know. Hi, Tammy. It's good to see you. Welcome to the show. All of you who are new and coming in, it's great to see you. So white sage fills the position of rosemary with me as far as cleansings and purifications go. As far as growth and new beginnings, I use jasmine or jasmine and bamboo for growth and new beginnings. You know, and then I have other herbs and I alternate them around because I like to change it up a bit, you know. I have a love-hate relationship with cigarettes. I think we've all been there, Ronan. I sure did. I hated them, but they balanced me out. I would sit up in the middle of the night. I'd find myself sitting there, smoking my guts out, balancing out, loving my cigarette, but hating the cough, you know. But whenever these people, the love of my life, convinced me or made me promise I would quit smoking, I started paying attention to how I was sitting around smoking while they were asleep and hearing them coughing in their sleep. I think that's really, really what did it. My hubby hates white sage. To him it smells like pot. Well, then he's not going to be much of a pot smoker now, is he? White sage. I love the smell of white sage. And there's no smell there of pot. What the hell? Mugwort. Mugwort is a good herb for relaxation. You'll find it in a lot of astral projective mixtures that people use to smoke or drink in their teas. Mugwort I like to mix along with Damiano. I like to mix it with, let's see, a little nettles and mullein as carrier herbs, not really doing much except for granting a little bit of good health, and probably a little bit of asthma, you know. Let's see, mugwort and Damiana, a little bit of skullcap, not much because it can be pretty toxic, and a little bit of lobelia. That is in my herb mix along with the mullein and mugwort um, as well as the nettles, and that kind of, some of that is just to kind of carry the others and make sure it's not too thick or dangerous, and you know, it helps balance out the mixture. So let's see. So mugwort can be pretty good in that way as an astral travel herb, as a meditative herb, as a relaxant, and one that would help you sleep if you mix a few other herbs with it, chamomile being one of those. Lobelia. It's not lobelias. It's lobelia, and it's an herb that helps you to relax. Now the funny thing, and it's funny that you should ask that, Angie, because I remember the first time, and remember, I used to have shelves all around my shop here where I actually sold physical pagan goods, and herbs were a big part of that. So I would get those in bulk quantities, right? And I love, the first thing I do whenever I get my order of herbs and oils and incense and all of that is open the box, and I love how the smell just floods my room with it. You know, wherever I open the box at. But then I love to go and take and open, you know, the bags of herbs and smell the herbs, you know. And I remember the first time I got lobelia in, and I did some studies to find out what it is, and it's a relaxant, right? And it's an astral projective also. But I opened the bag and stuck my head in and smelled the lobelia, and I was like, it was like I had been to the dentist and they put the gas mask on me, and it was the exact feeling of the gas mask that the dentist use, you know, to put you down, you know, while they're working on your teeth. It was that feeling. I was like, and it took just about 30 seconds to regather myself up, but that lobelia in a massive quality, just quantity, just smelling it, you know, without lighting it or anything, will make you a little flighty, to say the least. Eyebright is, let's see, going up, let's see, Eyebright is an amazing herb for clairvoyance, dream awakenings, and astral travels. I agree with that implicitly, and I have nothing to add to that. It looks like you've covered the bases with the Eyebright. Eyebright I'll even use this spell in Spellworks for awakenings, to facing reality, to coming to terms with things. Okay, I'll use it also in the morning physically, using the herb in my teas for waking up. Valerian is real good to help you relax and put you to sleep. I cannot stand the smell of it. I cannot. Even taking it in a vitamin, you know, a powdered herb of valerian in the vitamin, it was still so potent and smelled like fungus and somebody's bad feet that I could not continue with it. So valerian is not my favorite herb. Me and valerian don't get along. How about juniper berries? How do you use it? Well, you definitely would be very, very careful. From what I understand, juniper berries are very poisonous, at least in its fresh form. And people have made juniper teas and things like that. But I'm a little iffy about that one, and I haven't done a lot of studies. I did study it, I'm sure, a few times, but I have enough favorite herbs to where I would overlook that. Juniper would be used in getting back a broken relationship as far as magical uses go. As far as the fresh berries go, new beginnings and fresh starts. Uh, but a lot of times people use it to get over other people that have passed on, and coming to terms with it. Let's see, Ronan eyed, LOL, Mystic Witch. Let's see, yes, valerian smells like feet and stinky underwear and God knows what else. I can't use it. I gotta get me some of that stuff. Says Angie. Tammy, going to the dentist tomorrow. Yuck, scared. Uh, yeah, I hate dentists, and fortunately, I don't have to deal with that anymore. Not a tooth in my head. I've got some dentures here. I don't even wear my bottom denture plates, but not a tooth in my head, not one. And I'm happy that way because I had so many problems with my dental all through my life that I could just do without them. Let's see, Ramon, it's good to see you. I've never seen you in here, I don't think. If you have been in here before, it's been a long time. But welcome. As long as I'm using drugs, my magical operations never work. So for the sake of my practice, I've opted to go cold turkey from opiates as they severely suppress the magical will. They really do. In most people, your opiates really are not good to do in circle. And I've established that through a lot of the different things that I've said regarding those. Generally, they will suppress your magical workings. They will cause you to lose focus. They'll make you bounce off the walls and prevent you from focusing most of the time. Although there are a lot of green herbs that could be helpful to you, and depending on whether you learn how to use them or not. If you're ill, then you almost have no choice than to use the opiates that a doctor would prescribe you, especially if you're in a lot of pain and that's why they're prescribing them. Sometimes the pain would prevent you from focusing more than what the opiates would. And generally they have a certain balance that the doctors prescribe so that you would be able to function in your daily life anyway. It's not lobelius with an S. It's Lobelia. Lobelia. Let's see. Can be dangerous if taken without care. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I think you might be talking about the juniper berries again. I'm not sure. Let's see. Either way, yes, you've got to really, really study your. You've really got to study your herbs. If you do not, you're going to find yourself in a world of shit. You could die from toxic inhalation in your house if you're burning it as an incense, or you can poison yourself if you take it as a tea. Two of the most prominent killers within witchcraft and Wicca is mugwort and belladonna. If you don't watch out for these, they can even soak through your skin and stop your heart. Belladonna is so potent that one seed out of one berry can kill 15 people if dropped into something that would feed or thirst all of these people. So you've got to be careful. Mullein, mugwort, herbs like these are pretty docile and can be used. Some herbs are toxic to some degree, but would have to be used in an exuberant amount to actually get there. You can, yes, you can burn juniper. I would be very careful about the amount that I burn, and I would mix it up with other herbs to do it. Let's see. Communication spells. I could see where that would be helpful in communication spells. I'm using wild lettuce for pain, and it does work. That's good. That's good. And the more you can use your more docile herbs to balance out any pains or whatever that you may have, the better you are off, at least when you're doing your spell work. It smells god awful, even in capsule form. I gag when I take it. Talking about the wild lettuce. And I've never actually used wild lettuce, though I've heard a lot about it. Chronolone, it was good to see you. Join us again in the shows ahead. Alright? Have a good day with, of everything. Let's see. Drug use can bring unwanted entities or negative energies. That's right, they can. You have to be very, very careful with what all you do. If it's a prescribed by a doctor, medicine, then just balance it out right. Make sure you go in with the less possible, you know, but remember, you know, that if you're in pain, also that can prevent you from focusing likewise, you know. And Tammy's right. I mean, spirits will gather around our circle's perimeter or around our altar room and try to participate within our ritual all the time because they want to reach out into this world. And if you are not in your right mind, they will get in, and not only that, they will uh, inflict a lot of negativity into the workings that you're doing, and God knows what else they could do to you. And let's see. Angela Rainey, it's good to see you. Welcome to the show. First time with the chat. Been watching you for some time. Really like the show. Thank you so much, and I'm glad that you're here. And you're most welcome. Brought us blessings. Let's see. Have you tried using bloodstone with green aventurine for healing, Vicky? Okay, so this is aimed at somebody else. And I myself have not been a big stone person, a big rock or crystal person. I do use them and for specific purposes. But I don't know a lot about them. As I've said in many other shows, there's so many various topics to study, and a lot of them are big fields, and all of us can't cover all of them. So that's why we have you guys, the rest of you, so that you can share your information as it's needed. Let's see. Really, really, really must do your homework when working with herbs. Absolutely. Because they are as dangerous as taking medicines from a pharmacy. They're as dangerous as taking drugs from a pusher. I mean, you know, they can get you. Have you ever used hemlock? I haven't used hemlock, and actually I try to stay away from poisonous herbs as much as I can. And if not for myself, you know, or committing an accident, you don't want to do that by any means. I keep it out of my house on the basis that I have people in and out of my house all the time as my shop has run out of it, and they bring their kids a lot, and I don't have things around that could be dangerous to anybody because it could be, you know, really, really bad. Let's see. I was a user and have seen things, negative energies that feed off pain and suffering. And they definitely do that, and where there's pain and suffering, the demons like to go. Um, is there anything else that anybody would like to add to this before I end the show? Um, and by the way, while I'm waiting on you to put anything out there that you would like to sum up on your own, I'm going to say that right now on my channel, Mystic Shadow Insights Psychic Services, that's my other YouTube channel for tarot card readings and lessonry, teaching people how to read the tarot cards or use the psyche in any form or fashion. I am running a drawing there on my most latest video. So you might want to check that out and subscribe to my other channel, Mystic Shadow Insights Psychic Services. If you type in Mystic Shadow Insights, Lady Leeanna, you're going to find it. So you might want to go over there, and you might want to subscribe to that channel and follow the directions on the latest video I put up there on how you can get in on that drawing. And I wanted to let you guys know because you're our family and you're in here all the time. Anyway, so it looks like everybody is through talking for the day, and I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Alright? Please, rate, comment, and subscribe on all my videos because it does help it out. It puts me in a good rankship for other people to be able to find my videos. And it does help bring up my rankings in my analytics so that it makes YouTube more workable with me. Alright? And please support the show on either Patreon or go to mysticshadowinsights.com and donate to the channel to help us stay afloat or to do better shows as we go. Take care of yourself, and Mary part, I love you all too, and brightest blessings to all of you on this day. Take care of yourself. And I'll see you on Wednesday evening at 7:30. Bye-bye.